What's going on YouTube? My name is Bancroft. Thank you for tuning in. And today we're going to go over the rest of the Mechikabura deck and also kind of talk about other things that could be added to the deck, as well as at the end of this video, will have two different builds that I kind of threw together. One was a first impression build and the other one was kind of just tweaking it to a more my style. I don't know. We'll see how it works. And once you see those, let me know what you think. And if you have your own list you've already put together, put them in the comments down below. I'm really curious what people are trying to go, at least in the balance of this deck when it comes to ratios and whatnot. And first thing I want to point out, the Leader's Awakened side is Supreme Kai time. I just completely missed that, which means there's two additional promos and some other stuff you could tech into the deck. It was really cool. Shout out to, I think it's Masuka, right? Yeah, for kind of pointing it out to me because I completely overlooked that entirely. We're going to start out with the 8-drop because this is where the deck actually gets interesting now. And at first when I built the deck, I was like, oh man, you're going to be removing stuff, a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of recursions. You got to make sure you get enough draws. There's enough Dark Realm targets. And, well, here's a solution. Activate main for limit 1 for 2 black energy. If your leader is black and you have 3 or more energy, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, send to the owner's warp, play this card from your hand. And when this card is played, you can play up to one battle card with energy cost of 5 or less, and an Overwhelm or Dark Overwhelm skill from your warp with its non-keyword skills, negate it for the game. That's really cool. So it's a 30k double strike for 2 energy. That's removing a card and then playing an additional card from the warp. And because it says non-keyword skills, you can play any of the cards and just still have their keyword skills, which is really cool. The other card we got that was part of the super rares was support for the Foo deck. It's Foo Scheming Scientist. It on play draws 1 card. It's Overlord once per turn effect, obviously, as well. Then the activate main, limit 1. If your leader is Black Foo and you remove this card from your drop from game, and you place 1 black Cumber card from your hand into your Z deck, draw 1 card. So it has the ability to kind of draw no matter where it's at, which is kind of cool. Moving over some additional cards. I know when I went over Salsa, I was like, oh man, it'd be cool to like restand a blocker or something. And we got that. Supreme Kai of Time, Imprison Godly Spirit. The Barrier Servant Blocker. It's 20k, so it makes it 30k because Servant. It does have the auto at aim return, switch this card to active mode, so which is cool. You get to play it, attack with it, and aim return just restand it, and then you can block with it. Now keep in mind, you can't naturally restand it during your upkeep, or start of your turn, but it's a good blocker. I mean, it's a one-time attack, potentially free with this leader. Get it out there. I don't know if this is a 4 of in the deck, but it's for sure, in my opinion, 2 of. Demon God, Shroom, Scheming. This is dual attack. It's 15k. And Dark Overwhelm 4. If your leader is Mechikabura card, when this card attacks, choose up to 1 black battle card with 5,000 power from your warp and combo with the skills to get return. This helps you recur your Z energy for additional plays that way. It always guarantees a combo that's not coming from your hand as well, which is pretty cool. And then we have the super combo. It's Toa. If your leader's black and your leader is a Z leader, or you have 2 more Z energy, or you have a Z battle card in play, draw 1 card when you combo this card. Simple. Nothing too new or tricky about that. And then moving over to the last kind of few cards, we got oh my gosh, I always have trouble saying her name for some reason. Robelu, Hotshot. Permanent. If your leader is Mechikabura card and you have 2 or more energy, this card gains Wormhole. And then when this card is played, draw 1 card. This is a great turn 1 play. You don't combo it off, you just keep it on board. If your opponent doesn't deal with it, then you already have Wormhole established on your turn 2 without having to worry about doing a Dark Overwhelm into Demigra, which is pretty nice. But you also have Demigra in case you don't see this card as well. And then we got Demigra's Wormhole itself. If your leader is black, when this card is placed in the battle area or removed from the game, place up to 2 cards from the top of your deck into the owner's drop, which helps you get the cards in your drop so you can do more Dark Overwhelm plays or even Overwhelm cards. Activate main, limit 1. If your battle card with a Dark Overwhelm skill is in play, and you remove this card from the game, play up to 1 black battle card with an energy cost of 5 or less, and a Dark Overwhelm skill from your warp with non-keyword skills negated for the game. This is really cool because, once again, it's another way of just reoccurring cards that are already in the drop that have gone to drop and then moved to the warp, and there's no other way to play them. Boom. You play this earlier in the game, and then you have it available for following turns, or even just paying 1 to play it and then use the effect right afterwards. to play another card, which is really cool. I think this card is great when it comes to just the ability to just cycle your cards from one area into the field. I like it. And the last one is Darkness Falls. This one I'm kind of iffy on. It's activate main. It's free for starters, but activate main. If your leader is Black Mechikabura card, choose up to one of your battle cards with Dark Overwhelm skill, and it gains Servant, which is really cool. Gives that little additional 10k bonus to whatever card it is you're attacking with, but it only lasts till the end of your opponent's turn, so that way you get to restand during your start of your turn. Additionally, the chosen card is a Supreme Kai of Time card. Place up to 2 black cards from your warp into the owner's drop. That one's a little bit more. The only Supreme Kai time we got with this set, and I know there are promos and whatnot you could play, or other cards you could play in the deck, but I just like how the only Supreme Kai time card we got just so happened to have been already have Servant, you know? And maybe that's why I had the additional tagline there. I don't know, but yeah, it is what it is. So those were all the cards that were revealed for the Mechikabura deck, on top of the ones I talked about the other day as well. And I kind of wanted to talk about more about my first impression on a build. So as first impressions go, I kind of just wanted to fit with the archetype itself as much as possible. And let me get it, there we go. And you know, we have what I feel like is a good balance of a 3-2-4. Just, you have the leader itself on the Awakened side will search top 5 cards for your deck for X card, Demon Realm Race, or Demon God. So you're good on the searching there. But I do play 2 of the Deborahs, just kind of get that additional searching off. I don't care much about the auto getting a 6k power, because once you hit turn 2 and on, that card's practically useless, except for just playing it to search. So I play the 2 of, because if I don't see it early enough, it just gets charged or comboed off. But having Robelu and having Demigra, both having your wormholes, I think those are great. A 3-4 I think is good, because I'd rather play Demigra. They both cost 1 energy initially, so it doesn't really matter as long as you have the, I think, 4 cards in your drop to play Demigra. And then going from here, trying to figure out a good ratio of numbers, I really did a lot of 3s. So we have 3 Shrooms, 3 Supreme Kai Time. We have 3 Poutine, 4 Toa, 4 Salsa, just because restanding cards, and you could potentially use those cards for comboing or just kind of protect them from being attacked during your previous turn. Definitely 4 the Poutine and Gravy, because I felt like that effects are really good. You're drawing 2, discarding 1, and then when the card attacks, you're potentially removing a threat on your opponent's board. 3 of the Dark King Mechikaburas, because I feel like the deck just draws and cycles through so many cards so quickly that you're going to see that. And then here I kind of added, my own creativity to it. And I don't know how creativity it is. Once I learned that this was a Supreme Kai Time leader, we threw in the Xeno Reflective Strike Goku. It is a counter. It does cost 3 energy to do the counter effect, but it sometimes gets handy. Like, you go for, your opponent has to pass you, they have 1 open energy, you attack for your first card, hopefully go for a game on that first attack, they negate with a Floodgate, and boom, you drop this card, and they go, well, that's game. And then, I put 2 Supreme Kai Ties because I felt like if I'm trying to go with a more aggro-based deck, then I need to make sure all my negates that I have some additional effect to them. Supreme Kai Tie will remove the card being attacked when the card is played using the counterattack skill. Just choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, since the owner's a warp. It does come back, but you stop the first attack, you remove another threat. Simple as that. Goku Bardock is just one that it's just free. I do need the cards already set up in the warp, but it doesn't cost me energy, so I could potentially tap out with another negate first and then have this one afterwards. And then obviously support and petrification is just good. Black negates. 1 takes a life, gives you a token. The other one will pretty much petrify another card, which is really nice. I threw coolers in here because it's a great way of just reoccurring cards from your warp into your drop for 1 energy, and at the 25k battle card. That part of the on-play effect is you choose 1 of your black cards and it gets 5,000 power per turn. You can initially make this a 30k, or if you have the Toa Double Strike on board, you can make it 25, or even if you have Mechikabura on board, make it a 35 Double Strike. Gokus were put in here initially as a way of recurring cards that I've already warped. Then I kind of read more into the other cards and realized this card is not really necessary, so we're going to ignore that. Evil Satan, I think, is one of the best secret rares for black, especially decks that tend to burst or even want to send cards to warp. So that way you always have access to it, because as a reminder, it can be played from your hand or warp. So if you burst it, cool. Overwhelm, it's not a problem. Unlike other decks that you happen to burst Secret Rare, those most likely will be gone. Going into the Z deck, this was just kind of what I felt like was good starting out. We have, Xeno Goku, SS4, potentially double strike 25 for 1 energy. We have Demigra Z Unison. It's a super squishy Unison. It's 1 energy to play though, so you can get on the board fairly cheaply, and then using the +1 effect will give you Wormhole, just in case you haven't seen the other 2 cards in your deck. The extra cards, 3 of the Demigra's Wormhole, and then 1 of the first Kamehameha. That's only for, you have this established, Demigra's Wormhole already established, and you go, well, I'm going to use it now, but I don't know if I could win this turn. So you play first Kamehameha as a way of defensive play to help protect yourself, or even try to get that extra 10k on an attack as well. 1 Boo, just because it has nice removal, and then 1 Vegito, because it's really strong. It's a 30k triple strike. Now, the Z deck here was more or less just cards I wanted to kind of just talk about here, and that was obviously the promos I mentioned earlier. Both Goten and Trunks, they're free overwhelms at 6, and then the Goten can be played for 1 energy from the Warp if you have Trunks on the board, and then Trunks is a 19k, but he gets 5. You can combo 1 card from your Warp if your leader Supreme Kind of Time, which this one is on the Awakened side, and then Goten, when this card's played from your hand, you only draw 1 card, which is nice because you can still pay the 1 energy to play it from hand, or you could pay, for your Warp, don't get the draw though, but it has double strike and it's 25k as well. Just really good. I think 3 attacks, potentially all 24, 2 of them 24, 1 of them being 25, double strike for 1 energy. I think it's really strong. SG Trunks, a deck that tends to warp cards and want you put more cards back into your drop, is always a good card to have there because you could just play it then and then put the battle cards back in the drop to do more Overwhelm / Dark Overwhelm plays. Rebelu, the promo one, this one's already here as kind of an interesting play. It's 1 energy if your leader is black and you have 2 more energy, and you place 1 of your battle cards with Overwhelm or Dark Overwhelm skills in its owner's drop. Play this card from your Warp, choose to 1 of your opponent's battle cards sent to the owner's Warp, and your leader gets 5k power. This is really after you, say, establish a card, attack with it, and you just want to kind of get that extra hit and you have the energy for it. Boom, you play this card from your Warp. I say 2, but I just put it there as a fill space, but the Demon God Poutine Ritual at hand, it's pretty much Topo. You negate the attack, it does cost 2 energy, but then your opponent has to they choose 2 cards in their hand sent to the Warp for each attack, which is really cool. It helps slow down your opponent. And then this extra card was interesting. I know the leader's front side does search, and we have Deborah's that search as well, but this is for 1 energy, and it'll search top 7 cards of your deck, add a card to your hand, which will either be Evil Wizard, Demon Realm Race, or Demon God. I did make 2 other decks outside of that first impression, just kind of get more of a grasp on it. For this first one, I went more just kind of sticking with playing cards or playing really strong cards for 1 energy, or just trying to make sure there's cards where they need to be. So in this case, we still kept the 3-4 ratio. Adjust some of these other numbers a little bit more. Obviously 4 Toa, 2 Supreme Kai of Time for Poutine and Gravy, but then I added the Cumber package. I switched out the super combo to be Cumber instead. It's practically the same thing, and then you have the Assailant Fury for 1 energy. If you have 3 more energy, you choose 1 Cumber card from your drop or Warp, play this card from your hand with the chosen card underneath it, and then if you have 4 more energy when this, you place 1 card from under this card, and this card gets double strike. So it's for 1 energy, a 25k double strike. I think it's really strong, but not just that. When this card is played, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost less than or equal to the number of cards in your Z deck, ignoring barrier. Most times when you get this off, you may have still 8 cards in your Z deck, so it's still pretty strong, I feel like, for an effect. Sliding over to these Toas instead, because these Toas can give your Demon God Realm or Demon God cards, Demon Realm Race or Demon God cards in battle, plus 10k and double strike for Spirit Boost 1. So we're still playing Unisons to some degree, but it's in the Z deck. But this here just kind of helps get that, like, you swing in with one of the cards that don't have double strike, and boom, now it does. Obviously, like I mentioned, we're playing Z Unisons. We do have the counterplays. I think is really strong. Removes a card 5 or less, draws you a card, bursts cards, you set up your Z energy for future stuff, and then your other couple negates here just for that. And I traded out the Goku just for more aggressive play here. Goku will obviously be still part of the side deck, which I don't have here. It's just kind of throwing stuff together pretty much. Change up the unisons, and the reason why I didn't incorporate the Chilai one in my first impression build, because I actually don't own Chilai. Now, the guy I split a case with when set 25 was here does have Chilai. Of the 6 cards we got, he got Chilai, and we've always talked like, hey, if we ever want to borrow any of the are they DARs or I can't remember, DBRs, just ask. And so if I want to build this deck when the set comes out, I go, hey man, can I borrow that card real quick? I want to throw it in the deck. Because I think this is a better choice, because the problem with Demigra's Z Unison is that it's 5k. And it's a +1 marker 5k. There's no true protection on it. So there's nothing stopping your opponent just wiping it out, where Chilai is a 20k. So if your opponent wants to attack it, especially early game, they have to put it into work for it. Yeah, it's still a +1 marker, but when you +1 here, instead of getting Wormhole, you get the top 3 cards of your deck, place it to 1 battle card in its owner's drop, drop or send it to the owner's warp, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. It just puts cards where you want them pretty much, which is kind of nice. And I changed up the numbers of my Z deck. We have only 2 Wormholes, because I felt like, realistically speaking, I probably only would play 2. I feel like you might establish 1 turn 2, and then again turn 3, and then hold off in turn 4 to actually play it. But I don't know, like, I'm still kind of looking at it. I haven't had a chance to actually test the decks out yet myself. Still keeping the 1/1s here, and I switch out Boo for SSB Vegeta, because Goku does the same thing as Boo, really. He'll take the same amount of energy, but when his card's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the owner's warp. Boo will, yes, suck up a card, become a 25k blocker. But I was focusing more on just aggression on this build but I know, like, Assailant Fury, it's a turn 4 play. Floodgates are a thing. You kind of have to get there sometimes, unfortunately. And if you do, boom, you have that for 1 energy. The other quick deck I made, I think I changed a few cards out, and all I really did was incorporate the Goten and Trunks, because I felt like that would be a fun build to kind of go after as well. But realistically, everything else is kind of the same. But yeah, that's my kind of first takes and the rest of the reveals from Mechikabura. Hope you all enjoyed. And like I said, let me know what you guys are doing for this deck as well. I'm kind of curious what the ratios of Dark Overwhelm is going to be, because like, you obviously want plenty of them. That's how you draw cards with this leader, and that's how you get additional cards if you have like the Meager on play and whatnot. But yeah, that's it. All right, bye.